How do you feel? Because I feel you're stressed. I feel your the hands are shaking.
Yeah, where they're shaking through the entirety of the piece or right at the end?
Mostly through the piece.
Because
you didn't feel stressed?
Not in the beginning. I felt stressed obviously when I
okay. So and because I felt like even sometimes physically speaking, you see still you're very still agitated.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it might be as my hands are very shaky as they are.
In general, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Because also I was wondering if we could work on that. And how do you feel when you play? Like, how do you feel then? Do you feel they are shaking a lot, or not much?
I used to, and I still do. I think I've just I've adapted to it, so I don't really think about it.
Okay. Because sometimes I was wondering if just breathing more would help or not. But if you say like if it's a general thing, this is something else. Yes. I mean, being stressed is just on the moment. If you say that even when you are not, it's like this, it's something else.
Yes.
So, well, on the piece, I would like to see a few things, because it sounds, what I like when you play is that it sounds natural. You have a very natural way of playing it. You are a good musician, it works, it sounds nice, and even sometimes it sounds like the way you touch the guitar very naturally, sounds like how they play at the time, you know, how we can imagine this natural movement. It's not like too much of a, I don't feel too much the work, what is a good thing. I feel the natural movement. Now I would like to work a bit on the harmony that could help more the melody.
Yes.
Because I feel your listening is really into the melody, and then the rest of it is kind of a bit hidden. And we could try to listen. Let's say the harmony is the head, the melody is the head, and the melody is the belly. The harmony is the belly, sorry. Melody is the head, harmony is the belly. And for the moment, the belly is very skinny.
Yes.
We could do a bit more fat. And what is interesting is that here, today, we're in a nice hall where we can also imagine the projection. It's not like a very projecting piece, it's kind of intimate. But even if you play a piece like this, people there have to listen to you. So it's just about playing not only more forte, but larger. Okay, so the body, the harmony, we will work on that. And also, for example, when you have your harmonics, the harmonics, actually it stays here. And bam, it would be interesting to throw the little stars of the harmonics in the room. Okay? Otherwise, I like the fact that you play it espressivo, you use a very nice vibrato. It's just, for example, if we can materialize the real difference between a forte that is really open and then something that is really intimate. And what is interesting when we play for people is that we can bring people to the intimacy if, first of all, they heard the guitar really clearly.
Yes.
If we start in the intimacy, sometimes, if we stay too much here, it only sounds like it's far. Okay? So let's try to explore that.
From the beginning.
Yeah, very beginning. Don't hide it, just imagine it's another line. Yes. And now, in terms of tone, do you think we could have something with more fat.
Yes. From here.
Yes, just here. That's nice. Again, again. Okay, let me see something. Because sometimes, if we need more fat in the sound, it means also having more medium in the acoustical spectrum and less trebles. And sometimes I hear that in your sound it can be a bit, just a bit, not maybe because it's still nice. Can you give me a So let's say, for example, where is it? Just here how we can try to find and then little by little. You hear the difference between this?
Yes.
So this is the thing I would like to try to explore. So for this, can we do only one exercise? You take the B and you stay in the same position. You stay here and try to make a very navy sound, even more navy. Yes. And now try to yes, more. Even more. That's good actually. For the moment, I don't care about the position of the hand.
Yes.
What I'm listening is how it sounds. So here you can have that. And you have that on the chord now. Only like this. But you see, you lose it now. Yes. So how do you play IP?
Well, no, so.
So you see, it sounds different between IP and IM.
Yes.
Can you try IM and IP? This one, for example, sounds larger, the IP.
Yeah.
And then now play into the string to project. For the moment, it's kind of passive.
Yes.
Play it. Okay, let's see how we can do that. I'm just wondering. Okay, when you play, do you feel the pressure on the finger on the strings before you play? Do you feel that you have a resistance or not? Because if you play like that without the resistance, it doesn't project.
I don't feel the.
Try to feel it. Yeah.
Yes, I don't
Feel
feel
it.
as much.
It's like a bow. Ta, ta. Yes, exactly. That's very nice.
Okay.
That's beautiful. Actually. Yes. Yes, that's so much better. This one again. I think you can find better. So you see, there is something. I would say that the quality you have is that you play with the natural movement, but then sometimes the problem of our qualities is that we don't control it. So you play very nicely, but maybe you could control this a bit more.
Yes.
And every time you play this chord, you don't play always the same time, but you play always as you wish. This is the most important. It's not the finger on the movement that decides. It's really you when you play. Do I want it big? Do I want it thin? Do I want it clear? Do I want it warm? But it has to be controlled. And what I feel for the moment is that it's not always controlled. Yes. So let's try to play this again from the beginning and put the conscience on your right hand to feel the resistance and to feel you are really projecting exactly as you wish here. Again, and then I would like to try something. The first time you play it clear like this. Is it possible the second time, for example, to change the color of the melody? To have something a bit more round? But without going to the sultasto.
Yes.
Sultasto is cheating. Because every time we want to do warmer, we go sultasto. But the problem with the sultasto is actually that it's kind of warm, but it's what I call the tube sound. It's like this, but it's empty in the middle. There is no tension, there is not much of expressiveness sometimes, because we are missing some tension of the string. So try to find the warm sound only with the angle of your nails.
Yes.
And sultasto is an effect. You can use it, of course, but it's nice, but try to open the sound even more. Okay, but now you play more aggressive.
Yes.
So open it is just without more tension, just listen to the sound. Just can we see this finger here?
This one.
Yes, this one. Because I don't feel super safe with this.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you do it again, one? Your second finger sometimes wants to go too far.
Yes.
Which is the finger you are looking at when you move? One or two?
I'm looking at one.
Okay, but try to look at the second, because it's this one who wants to.
Yes.
Wants to give. Yeah. Like a real intensity between do, si, but actually it's really close. There is almost nothing to do.
What do you mean?
In terms of, there is after that, do, si. Yes, this is, I feel that you are doing a real movement, like, but it's really close. There is nothing to do. You see? And sometimes I feel we are doing too much for something that is really easy.
Yes.
For me, it's really like if I ask you to go from here to here, like this, and you're doing like,
Oh.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
So try just to, yes. Can we see that with the basis line, please?
Yes.
And try to be expressive during the whole bass line, because sometimes, because of the fingering, we lose the color of the melody.
Yes.
For example, can you play only the bass? I mean, only the melody. It keeps really homogeneous.
Yes.
Can we try to do with everything? Are you playing? I'm not looking at you, but are you playing the E with index?
I'm doing both with fingers. Both.
You do some or some?
Thumb.
Okay, can you do it please again? Actually, the color of the Mi sounds much thinner.
Yes.
So keep some thumb, but try to find a fuller color. Yeah, only this.
Yes.
And now, sempre molto espressivo.
Yes.
That means that I think you can do even more, maybe the vibrato, and even in the thumb, you know, that's a bit in general, we could have more weight. I feel your hand is, how to say that, let's say these are the strings, and your hand is really with the weight like this, instead of the weight is like here. What is interesting is sometimes to use the lightness of the hand, and sometimes the gravity. But just go into the string, and it makes something that is much present too, like if you do them. Imagine like you're kind of a cello.
Yes.
But a cello, you feel the pressure they put with the bow on the strings. It's a lot of pressure. Can we try that? But then not too much aggressive,
yes.
Just the weight. Just the weight. You play with index this one.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
Yes, this one. I thought you meant that one.
No, I said both, sorry. But this one is with index. Let's see. Imagine some also, I don't know. Let's try. Yeah. It's good. Beautiful. Yes, and nice. Yes. Sometimes this is not really clear.
Yes.
Also because it's kind of heavy on the left hand. So let's see. You do that, huh?
Yes.
Do you do the slurs or not?
I try to do the slurs, but sometimes they
Slurs? Did you try without?
Yeah, I tried without. I would say with. I mean, the slurs. I think it would sound better with the slurs, but I'm.
But that wasn't my question.
Okay.
My question was, what is the easiest? The easiest.
Then it's without the slur.
Yes, but what sounds the best?
With the slur.
Okay. So, from this diagnostic, I think our goal is always to combine all the perfect solutions. What means that, could we imagine having no slurs sounding like slurs? The easiest sounding the best. This is, in French, we call that taking the butter and the money of the butter. Okay, you have everything. And so it's really, I think if you do a real legato, maybe it can sound like a very nice line. But let's try it. I don't say it's the solution, I say it's a possibility. It means, so what do you hear when you do a slurs compared with when you don't do? Musically, what's the difference?
I haven't.
You want to play it again? And
Yes.
so do one with and one without.
Maybe a bit more. Maybe like slurs a bit more sliding. You don't take. I mean, I imagine like you take every single tone you pluck, you take a step.
Yes.
But a slur is kind of a sliding.
Exactly. So in the way we play the right hand, is there a way to make it slide like this? Maybe being lighter after the first note. Yeah. Let's try that. It's much better already. Yes. That was very interesting. I like that. So actually it's possible. Yeah, perfect. So actually we are going to a point that is for me essential when we practice and when we play the guitar, is that we don't care if you do a slurs or if you don't. The most important is how you want it to sound. And then if you have your idea very precisely, but it's paradoxical with the way of playing, try to compensate with the movement. And sometimes people say, I play apoyando because I want a bigger sound. Completely. But it's easier for me to play tirando. Okay. Have you ever tried to play a tirando that sounds like an apoyando then? This is the full thing. You know, when I was younger, I was practicing this idea of, I wanted a tirando sounding like apoyando. That was my thing. And every time I was practicing, I called my parents. Yeah, I called my parents and they told them like, okay, close the eyes and you have to say if it's tirando or apoyando. And my goal was to be able that they don't see the difference. So it doesn't mean, of course, it sounds always a bit different, but you can always go closer and closer and closer. So using no slurs doesn't mean it will sound staccato. And you just did the illustration perfectly. So, up, but legato. Let's try just from here.
One more time.
Yes, yeah. It's good. more sparkling.
In a bit more.
Let's see that, yeah. Let's see only the F, yes. No, I'm wondering, because also all the guitars sound different in harmonics. You know, on my guitar some harmonics are not good, some other are good. It's just, you have to find, yes. Yes. Okay, let's see something. Can I try to, just a second to feel it, to feel the. It also comes from the attack.
Yes.
If you attack very naily, or on the side of the nail. So maybe try to have more angle on the nail.
Yes.
Let's try that. Slower down, just to have the sound. Okay. Actually, do you feel the sensation when we play it too strong? The sound doesn't open.
Yes.
In the harmony. So actually we don't have to play too strong. You have to find the limit in terms of strength, but you also have to find the good position of the playing finger. Let's try again. Just F. Okay, and don't release while you play, release after. Yes. Yeah. So be careful with this position.
Yes.
I think you could take a bit of time to spend a bit of time on that, finding perfect colors. Because for the moment it's still a bit approximative.
Yes.
And the thing is harmonics are not approximative at all. They don't like, yes.
Yeah.
This one was perfect.
Okay. Yeah, well said. Because when I try to like angle my hand, maybe it's more like I angle my hand instead of my nail.
Yeah,
because I don't
your
feel
hand,
like,
yeah, definitely.
Because I get the warmth with it, but not the volume. But
Yes.
now I kind of,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like the nail, like this part.
Uh-huh.
Maybe.
Exactly. But you know, everything you can try to find another sound is worth it. Like, you know, sometimes playing harmonic with the thumb and the index instead of that sounds also different. The most important is to imagine something perfect. And first of all, if you imagine something perfect, you will not find it. That means you can seek it. And you can go closer and closer and closer. So let's say that you must never be happy with what you find straight away. You must say, oh, this is interesting, but the goal is there. The projection, the color, the duration of the note. Okay, do you have any questions? Or
no, maybe I don't think so.
okay, well, Mama,
So how do you say in French this butter thing?
Le beurre et l'argent du beurre.
Le beurre et
Le beurre et l'argent du beurre.
et l'argent de beurre.
The money of the butter. And if you want to continue, actually there is a joke to say you want the butter, the money of the butter, and and how do you call the lady who makes the butter?
Okay.
That's the third step actually.
The third step.
That's
Okay. Thank you. It's very
Hi.
It's
Yeah.
one of my favorites and stuff, and one clean version. I can't play with this from memory.
You can play your.
No, I-
Oh, you cannot. So take yours, and you want me to put some stuff here.
Yes.
That's fine.
Is it okay if I use this? Yeah.
Have you seen the edition? That's the best edition ever. Yeah. Yeah, because it was kind of tight here.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. So you want to work on this one, or you prefer to?
I would prefer this one.
Okay. Of course. Okay, very good. Well, first it's funny because I kind of was used to the projection little by little, but at the very beginning, I think you can play more.
Mm.
At the very beginning, with the stand, the relation with the score, I felt like you were in your room playing for you instead of playing for everybody. That's. I think it's always important to think you are playing also for people in front. Always, even if you're in your room, because the thing is that the reality of being the musician is to play in the concert halls and to play for people, and I think that makes a big difference. Also in terms of emotion, if you give the sound to people, it can touch them, physically speaking. If the sound stays there, there is something that doesn't happen. On this piece, I would like to see actually the difference and the identification of the different voices. Because for the moment I feel everything is the same voice. I kind of hear something in 2 dimensions instead of having an orchestral thing. Or let's say it could be a trio sonata, actually, by Bach. And you know, when you have all the upper voice, when you have the silences, I feel the upper voice doesn't exist anymore. But actually it does. It's just but then every time we have the silence, there is not this breathing and this suspension. So try to keep in mind that they are separate voices. Can we try to play that again? And also something that could be nice, every time you have the appearance of the theme. I realize it's the theme, but after, because you don't start like if it was the appearance of the theme. Okay? Can we do that again, please? Sorry.
I'm so used to my
no problem.
my right ear.
First big phrase. So we have the violin, but we also have the cello or the viola da gamba, if you want. And harmonically speaking, for example here, but even before, but here, we could have more direction. Pim, pa, pam, pa, pam. There is something that really opens in terms of harmony. And it's a bit, my purpose today is to say that every time you hear one voice, the other disappears. So I can feel when you're listening to the first one or to the bass one, but then your attention is 100% focused on one of them. What could be interesting is to make them exist independently and at the same moment. And what I like when I listen to musicians is that we hear what they are thinking about. So try to think about, to listen to everything. Is it possible to try to listen to everything? Because for example, when this voice appears, I feel you forget the middle voice. It becomes passive. Yeah, that's what I mean. It becomes passive. Let's do that again. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Can you play only the bass line for me from the beginning to the end of the phrase? Only the viola da gamba.
Well,
So where does it start?
or do you mean like always the lowest line, or
The lowest
the
line.
more bass?
But that's my question. Where does if let's say you have to make an arrangement for trio, what would be the third voice, the second, and the first one?
I guess first, second, and
Yes.
the bass.
And this one, which one is it? Is it the
bass.
second or the third?
The third.
Okay. Can you play it like the third?
Just the beginning bass.
Just the third voice, the lowest voice, since the beginning. So you see, what is very funny is that it's the simplest thing to do, but it's harder
Yeah.
because it really means that you link everything. Because if you can play this Siciliana as you did, but you cannot play only the bass, that's kind of paradoxical. So that means that still at the moment, the piece for you is one block.
Yeah.
What would be interesting is to have this piece in 3 lines. And for this, you can completely do this work of, okay, I do only the bass during the whole piece, and then I do only the alto, and then I do only the violin. Let's try to continue with only the bass. And in the Baroque music, or with Bach, but in the Baroque music in general, the bass is the skeleton of any piece. Because the bass gives us the harmonic structure and gives us also the rhythmical structure. In the Baroque music, everything is built on the bass all the time. The rest is only decoration. Of course, it's very important, but what I mean is that I really feel when we play Baroque music that we are walking on the head. We are walking upside down because we are always singing the parts, but we never have the comprehension of the harmonical structure and the rhythmical structure. But if there is not this, it cannot exist. I mean, this is a music made with the continuum. For example, Bach could have written this only with basses and numbers, and then the violin improvises. Have you ever done some continuo exercises? Sometimes?
Basso continuo.
Basso continuo?
No.
No? That could be interesting. I really believe that we would need all of us, all the guitarists, we should not be like super good in continuo, but do a bit of continuo, because I mean the day I discovered that, I realized that wow, actually I was reading this music in a very weird way, you know. And to be honest, I think here the way it's written, the bass actually I think starts here, and this is maybe the alto. Because he makes a jump, and then the bass is in. Only with that you understand the piece, because you know where are the tension and where are the resolution. You understand where is it static and where it's in movement. So you know what, you could try to do first the exercise of playing the bass at home, and then what I would do, if you have the courage to do it, is to write the bass on a score and to put the numbers as if it was a basso continuo, you know, because if you are able to make the basso continuo on this piece, it means that then all the voices will appear very clearly for you. Okay, instead of having one piece with a lot of notes, it will be only one big space with some decorations. Okay, let's try to play everything now, but listen to the bass and try to phrase it. So where is the end of the first phrase? Yes. And here for me is an interesting point, because it's the end of the first big phrase and the same note is the beginning of the next one. So the idea would be to play it like at the end of a phrase in terms of resolution, but the attack of the bass shows us is the beginning of the other. Could you play this from here only as a resolution of a phrase? So you stop, for example, you stop here. Okay? Yes, but it's kind of.
I should continue.
No, you don't continue, but just the end of a phrase. And you want to keep the D? I feel that.
I should keep it. Or
I don't think so. Because yeah, that's better. So can you tell me where is the very beginning of the next phrase?
just like the bass line, or when it is.
The beginning of the appearance of the theme. So what could be interesting is to have the upper voice as a. So how can we manage to have this at the end of the phrase? That
So, how to say? So this top part is the priority here, and
you
then
have to release the first part and then to make this present. The thumb is present here, but this is relaxed. Okay, so you try this from here. Okay, but then I feel that your theme appears here because this is not presented enough.
So it should be presented here.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I think I understand.
I was wondering, like, what would be interesting is to have really the continuum. So here you have a pedal actually. What makes it more static instead of moving on the bass. That's why it's interesting to see the harmony, because otherwise you don't understand where it's moving and where it's static. Here I think B flat is kind of complicated to make it continue straight away, but I think you should do that work at home. Really write only the bass.
Yeah.
You know. Or you can do it on this piece, but it's not the easiest. Are you playing something else by Bach or something?
Yeah, I'm playing the whole sonata.
Yeah, but then B flat major or G minor is not
yeah.
easier to start making continuo. Okay, I can send you something after, like because I'm working on the variation, the Goldberg variations on two guitars, and you see, for example, the Goldberg variation. It's one piece with 32 variations, 32 movements. It's 1 hour and something long, but actually the full piece is and with this he writes 1 hour of music. Only that. And he just made a variation of it. It's exactly the same here. And you will see everything will be much more simple. Right? I'm sorry, where was that? From here? last bars. In which key were we? So we started in what?
What's G minor? No, I can't think.
we were in the relative, so we were in B flat major.
Yeah.
B flat major.
Yeah.
But then we came back to here. We are in B flat. And then we are in G minor. But then, if you have only the bass, you can read that. And I think it's really important to know that it sounds really different. It's not the same color at all. So we cannot play the first phrase in B flat, then the second phrase that goes to G minor. And let's try something to finish with this. Play the first phrase knowing you're in B flat major. You're kind of open color. And then you will play the second phrase knowing that you're going to G minor and to make something a bit darker. Can you do that? So B flat major. Starts the same. No? Okay, that's interesting because we have exactly the same beginning. So the first one. Second one. It's not the same direction at all. So in a way, we cannot play both phrases in the same mood or same movement, same direction. So I think on this piece, first of all, this would be the work to do. Just kind of removing all the decorations and going back to the harmonical and the rhythmical structure. Okay, great, bravo. Only this. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. The bass is very well chosen, yeah. Hi. Fin de solo. Yes. Fin solo. Great. You want to play the whole piece? It's just we are. Council is long, no?
It's
like,
long.
I mean, we
8
can.
minutes maybe? I don't know.
Oh, we can do it.
I mean,
I
I don't have to play the whole piece.
You know what? If one moment I see like your exposition or what, I just stop you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, for the moment you play everything.
Great.
And if I stop you, don't be mad at me. half an hour. So let's work on that. Can you tell me first of all? Can you make a little diagnostic of your performance? I want to know.
Right now?
Yes.
From what angle?
Whatever you want, actually.
Whatever.
So what do you think about what you just done? I mean, a diagnostic is good things,
Yeah.
bad things.
I'm not so sure actually, because I was so focused on having to do it. Actually, I think more than actually listening to it.
Okay. So focus on what, for example?
It's a stressful situation, a masterclass, a new person. I have to play a piece, but I'm not. I mean, I can do it, but I'm not completely comfortable with it.
So for how long were you playing the piece, for example?
I played it last semester and I picked it up again.
And so few months. I mean, what, 6 months, something like this.
Maybe.
Let's say. So today, in which percentage of the full process are you? I mean, to the ready.
Yeah, I think I'm fairly near to the concert stage. It's at least a school concert stage. For me, it's the final touches. It's the artistry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So you mean like you're like 90%, right? Something like this?
Sure.
Okay. But now my question is how, in terms of percentage, of course it's completely, but percentage of what you can do or what you would like to do. For example, like today it sounds like this, like what you did. Is it what you want? Is it far from what you want? Is it very close?
I think I'm kind of
It's not an easy
I'm
question.
kind of if the result is a person standing here, I'm kind of breathing on its neck, sort of. But I'm not quite there. But
Okay.
yeah.
Because, so, I will be honest. For me, for example, we are around 40% of the final result.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but it's just, I say that because I'm sure you can reach it. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that. It's the goal is to be constructive. The goal is to be. So I'm sure you have a lot of possibilities to do it. But my goal first was to understand your vision of it. I say that on about several points. For example, when we play a piece like this, there is something I would like to work together. Is about the virtuosity. How can we push the buttons to go faster, louder, to be more solid? Because I feel that you're a good musician. You have ideas. You have a really nice way of playing in the intimacy and stuff. But since we are going faster and louder, it's more complicated. So, for example, the introduction works much better than the allegro. But what is the thing is that it's not, how to say that, it's not a big deal. I prefer to have someone who is a musician, who has to work to reach, let's say, a virtuose motor level, than someone who is good but has no musical feelings. I think it's much more interesting and much more possible. Someone who is not a musician, it's difficult to transform into a musician. So, can you tell me how you practice, for example, the allegro? Let's focus on the allegro first.
How I practice it. I usually start. Well, recently I've been doing this thing where I play everything backwards. So I start with this and then that one and then that. Maybe I think I usually start playing through it. Just cold, and then I do that for a bit. identify weaker spots like that part, for example.
Yes, for example.
But
let's work on this part first, and
Sure.
everything we are going to say, let's say on this first page, because we don't have much time, but on this first page, will be actually the same idea for working about the rest, practicing the rest. So let's start with the Allegro. What would be the ideal tempo for you? Like if you have to think about, I want to play it at this tempo.
I mean, I would love to have it something.
Okay, first of all, we have to put the tempo precisely what it is. Because what we are doing now is to practice the virtuosity. That means to be able to go faster and faster and faster. And for this, the metronome is really helpful because it gives you like an absolute result. Let's say 125. That's today, that's the goal, okay? You know, I really think sometimes we have to practice like sport people, you know. Okay, you run 100 meters in 12 seconds, the goal is 1180, then it's 1160, then it's 1140. So today, can you play the tempo you played it? Let's see. Okay, let's say 100. So today we're 100, the goal is 125. Then, what you can do is, for example, we're only taking this first bar, this first big phrase. Let's start a bit slower, like a 90. Okay, we stop here. We have to start slower, and even if you want 5 points less, 85, it's no problem. For the moment, practicing slow allows us to hear the place where it's difficult. So, every time I practice, first of all, before putting the tempo, I try to understand where it's difficult. So here, I will see that, but that was actually better than this. Here the rhythm is not really precise. So now let's do it again. I want to hear perfectly what happens. Tam, taga, tam, and practice the 3 points that are really important to practice the velocity is practicing loud, so everything for me. Practicing slow and practicing relaxed. That are the 3 main points. Really. So practice slow, loud, and relaxed. Can we do that? So tam taga tam loud. Okay, this is not precise already. Re, do, la, sol, si, la. It's not clear. Do you hear it or not? Or it's fine for you?
I'm not sure.
Okay, let's do it again and try to listen. Do you think it's clear?
I hear it.
Okay. So it's very important also when we practice to listen very carefully what we do. Because sometimes we forget to listen enough, and then it's like for me like a little dust in the machine, but more we put the tempo fast, more we have dust, and then it's worse and worse. So the goal is to clean everything while it's slow. Okay? Again, let's try to clean that. That was great. Are you using MA or IM? MA, right?
Yeah.
And you try with IM? Just to see. It's fine, the same. How do you feel? Is it different?
Sharper, I think.
Yeah, but in
Yeah.
terms of physical
Control. Okay, I see. I think I probably feel a bit more precise.
with what? With IM.
With IM.
Yeah. So it's exactly what we said just before. You like the sound less with IM, but you feel more comfortable, more precise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could we try to have a good sound with a comfortable finger? Yeah, I think it's no problem, and you will work on that more. Okay. I am very nice. Let's do it again from the very beginning. Faster than the mid.
I want to go faster. Yeah.
It's really an exercise. For the moment, we don't play the piece. We practice it like. Tam, taka, tam, taka, tam. Ta, 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 ta. Okay, now we stop here because the goal is to stop every time there is something we don't like.
Mm.
So you will see that you the problem with that is that you will hate yourself. But I hate myself every day when I practice. But for eventually enjoying a lot what is happening.
Mm.
So it's normal in the process because now you will start to hear everything you don't like. But it's the main thing to improve. Here, what happens here? Can you play from here? I would like to understand why it's not precise. Let's try it. Okay, very slow. Can you do ta ta ta? Again, ta ta. Okay. Do you know why it's not good enough or not?
Well, the thing I'm sure of is that I often miss and I damp.
Damp?
Damp string.
Mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it again and look at what you're doing. Slowly. Pam, pam, pam. Okay, again. Look at your fingers. There is something that's very clear for me. This finger is really close to the fret and sometimes too much, and this one is really close to this fret. That makes it does this a lot. That means that your fingers are kind of too close. Could you try to have this one close to the fret here, but not in the fret, and this one more like here? Yeah. Very slow. Yes. This one wants to be very. not like. You see, even if it's much harder to make it clean. Better. Okay, would you say that the extension between 2 and 4 is kind of hard? Yeah. Okay. So, you see, we are just making a check on everything that is happening. You know, this is the way I practice. Every time there is a problem, you have several steps. First thing, I hear something that I don't like. Second thing, where is it? Circle. Why? What's the reason? Okay, maybe my finger are too close from the fret. How can I solution it? That's the next step. So I have to put my finger like this. Okay, it's complicated. I will find some exercises to make my stretching better. So for example, I can give you an exercise for stretching.
Yeah.
Have you ever done some stretching exercise? Practicing?
I have.
Okay.
It was a while ago.
For example, you can do it like you a fifth position.
Yeah.
You do 1, 2. Yes. And you exchange. And you now 1 string. Repeat that way, you can repeat it 2 or and then 1 string again. And until the end.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And the secret is that you have to count 4. And you move after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. 2. And play that. 2, 3, 4. Now 1 string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue. Last one. No.
No. What? Oh.
And do you think you can try to have the thumb a bit more? Yes, a bit more. And then it's the fingers who are working. Yes. That's great. Okay. So we did this with 1 and 2.
Yeah.
After you do the same with 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 1 and 4. This is the first exercise. I think it's a very good way to start. And then you can do the same thing with 1. And then you do the same here. And that's why when you do this, for example, with 2 and 3. Don't break your hand, but just. But then we keep on it. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is the hardest. Okay.
Yeah.
So you see, don't damage your hand, but I will write it for you. You know, I do that sometimes when I feel I need it. I do that every morning just to warm up. Very few exercises, and it helps to stretch actually. So. 1, 2, 1. Isn't that clear? I think you will remember, yes. So 1, 2, 2, 3. 3, 4, 1, 3. You don't do them every morning, but you choose only 2, for example. For the morning, you do that, and after you can choose. I mean, it will help for this type of pattern. But the most important is every time you practice something, you understand why it's not working. And I think we cannot go forward if we don't know why it didn't work. And the danger of that, if we practice too much the same mistakes, is that we learn the mistakes. So, but for this, honestly, I'm not really, how to say that, I'm not anxious about the fact that you will find a solution for sure. But for that, you have to look at your fingers and like, okay, what's the problem? Okay, sometimes can be the timing, sometimes can be the position, sometimes can be the anticipation, the preparation of a finger. So it's a lot to think, but you have the solution with you. And then about the virtuosity, let's say that you start at 85 and you don't continue if it's not perfect at 85. But you really don't continue. And then, pam, 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 pam. You know, I do a game when I do this type of exercise, is that if I don't go faster, if I don't play that part 3 times perfectly in a row. And that's
I do that too.
That's yeah, you do that too. So you do with the metronome tag and you don't have to be indulgent. Tag, tag, tag. And honestly, if you do that every day with this technique, bam, slow, loud, relax, stretching, and playing perfectly without going faster, honestly, in a few weeks it will be very, very different, for sure. And your goal is to go faster, cleaner, and louder also.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah. We're out of time.
We are.
Okay, but great.
So, we have 28 minutes for questions. Anyone?
Yes, so sorry, questions. If you have questions, of course.
Yeah, certainly a lot of questions, just difficult to imagine them on the spot.
What is your process when you're studying a new piece, especially when it comes to, I mean, technique, of course, but interpretation?
Well, there are several steps. The first thing is that when I read it the first time, I already try to play it. That's really my first goal. Is like, oh, you have a new piece, play it. Not only find the notes, just play it musically speaking to understand what happens. What are the natural directions? Are there some effect that I instinctively do? So the thing is that I really believe that the first reading of a piece is important because it means that you play with your instinct, and this is something you have to keep after. The second step is when you start to practice the piece, is to find, as we just did, the solutions technically. Okay, why is this part complicated? Why is this part complicated? Some things work, some others don't. Why? And I solution it. Once I have that, I call that think against myself. It means that all my instinct was here at the first sight, but then I try to understand what the composer wrote, and I also try to find new ideas, like seeking for new ideas, and not only listening to my instinct. I think it's interesting to mix both, because sometimes the instinct is nice, but it's not enough. You know, it's if it's only this, it can stay superficial. So if you want to build an interpretation, you also have to think against yourself, to try to find this balance between the nature of your playing and what you have inside, and what you can invent from it. It's both. So, and then after that, I try to learn it by memory as fast as I can. And then once I have it by memory, I feel more free also to improvise new ideas. So for me, Musically speaking, I have 3 steps. The first one is instinct with sight reading, then think against myself to find new ideas to make this research of interpretation. And once I have it by memory, I can be free and test things also again instinctively. And a lot of things change in concert also. Because when you play in concert, because of the acoustic, because of what you feel on the moment, you will try something new, something different that you may keep or not. This is the process.
And is there some skeleton of your interpretation that you always kind of keep?
Yes. I really believe we need a skeleton because when we play a piece, it's a vision of a piece. So it has to be coherent, it has to be homogeneous in what you do. If you change every time, it means that you are building in a soft material, you know? So for me, the skeleton is here and the decorations can change.
You talked a little bit about, when you were talking about Bach, how you try to focus on the bass and then you look at the voicings, the harmonies. But is there, how do you tackle romantic music? Is it, how do you think about it when you're interpreting romantic music?
Well, anyway, the bass and the harmony is structural, so it's very, very important in Baroque music, but not only, of course, romantic music. But for me, the romantic music, depending which one also, because we have what we call romantic is classical for us also, but if you speak about Giuliani or Merz, this is even for me kind of classical. It's not completely romantic still, because to the real romantic music, we have a relation to the rubato that is different. So the rubato enters in the game in a different way, so the bass doesn't have the same movement. For me, in the Baroque music, for example, the bass is the rhythm. In the romantic music, the melody can be the rhythm and the bass can move, what is kind of different. And depends which country, because I think you don't play Italian romantic music like you play German or English romantic music. You don't play Merz as you play Giuliani, Carulli. So I think it's always interesting to understand the context of a composition. And when you understand that in Baroque music, they all played continuo. They all knew how to improvise on the bass. That means that this is a structure. And when you understand that in the romantic music, for example, the composers themselves played the guitar and composed on the guitar, you also see the different movements of the composer. I love to see, for example, the scores by Tárrega, Llobet, Antonio Manjon, because when you see the scores, you see how they moved on the guitar. And I think that's very interesting. Agustín Barrios, for example, when you see the scores of Agustín Barrios, it's a very specific technique. So you don't approach this in the same way when the composer composed something from his hands or when a composer composed something from his mind, I think.
So it's different between a guitarist composer and the...
I think it's different, yes. Yeah. Yes?
You said you memorize your pieces, of course, but how do you go? What's your strategy to memorizing them? If you have a lot of new repertoire each semester, like we do, how do you come to that stage to play several new pieces without needing the scores?
Well, actually, the first thing I do when I start my memorizing process is that I on the score I put the different parts. In terms of the structure is the most important, because if you know, okay, this is A, B, A prime, this is the coda, the A is separated in 2 themes, for example, then it's so clear in your mind that you know where you are, and you know also what you know in the piece. You're not lost in a big thing. You already organize your thoughts. And I think it's very important. It's the same when we speak, to organize here things. Otherwise, it's so many informations and you don't find, it's like your bedroom. If it's not tidy up, you don't find things. It's exactly the same for me. So I just put the different parts, I cut them, tack, 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 and I learn part by part. And sometimes when you do that, you realize that, oh, actually this is exactly the same part on this, but on the relative key. So in terms of memory, it helps a lot because it's the same thing. You know, it's not something new. It's the same, but transformed. What helps a lot. And from that, I try to learn it, trying to have a good mix between the muscular memory, the visual memory, and the listening memory too. Because I think the visual memory sometimes can be a danger when we know a piece by memory and we don't play with the score anymore at all. The visual memory disappears, and that's a security in less. So sometimes when you feel you know the piece by memory, but you're not completely secure, just take the score and read it, even without the instrument. Just read it. You know, for example, every time I have a new piece to play, the day before the concert, before sleeping, I read the piece. Could be a concerto or a solo piece. I just read it. And then you sleep on this photo, you know, that helps a lot. Yes?
How do you, I mean, when you have, for example, a concert where you have how do you keep all the pieces like fresh and ready? I find
yeah, even more when you play them a lot and you start to play them and them again. Well, first of all, I think I'm lucky because I'm doing a lot of different programs. So I don't only play the same program all the time. For example, this year I have 9 programs. Could be concerto, chamber music, or solo. That makes it, every time I'm happy to change my program. Sometimes it can be too much, but I'm happy with that. And well, let's say for example this program Bad Barrios I will play tonight. First of all, when I choose my program, I choose only pieces I want to play, like deeply, you know, because it's like friends, you know, like you will never get tired of it. And if you play a piece because you're not completely sure about it, maybe you can get lazy with that. And also when you play, try to always have new ideas. Personally, I feel I never play exactly the same every concert. Also because when you play in a room, for example, this room doesn't sound like another room. So I will not, let's say, for example, first movement of La Catedral. I will not let it ring the same way than in a very dry room or in a church. And that makes the magic of every concert. Because you play not only the piece, but you play a piece in an acoustic. And for me, the fact that I play every time in a different acoustic makes it fresh also. And I've never thought this way, but imagine you play every time, you play 3 times a week here in the same place. Maybe it would be more complicated to be fresh. Because you play always in the same sound and the same acoustics, the same resonance. So it doesn't give you the same ideas. Yeah. Yes?
Yeah, I thought I heard you using like a movable dose system for. It would be interesting to hear your approach to ear training and how it would affect your guitar playing and even like finding structures of music, I guess. If you use it like, for example, like when you memorize beats. So basically ear training and movable dose.
In ear training in what?
Because I thought you were using the movable dose system.
Movable do?
Yeah.
Solfège.
Solfège.
Ah, solfège, yes.
Yeah, maybe we call something else, I don't know.
No, because we say solfège,
Yeah,
sorry.
movable dose, yeah. Because
And what about
there's like a fixed dose system and a movable dose. So which dose would always be the note C, and in a movable dose, that would be like the tonic of the key.
Ah, okay. You mean like relative?
Yeah.
Okay. No, because in France we use the solfège always. And how is it here? You have solfège or?
No.
Ah, you don't. And you know, this is very funny because I really thought like everybody was saying do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do.
Yeah.
But when you start to travel, actually you see that in a lot of countries they don't. So yes, for us we really make the difference between the solfège and what we call the degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the degrees.
Yeah.
So this is. I think it's even more important to think in terms of degrees, in terms of relation between the note and between the harmonies than just the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. This is not like super important. The most important is to understand the relation between the notes to understand where you go and what is the next color appearing. And yeah, and it is funny because I don't know how is it here, but in France, what we call l'oreille absolue, you know, it's
L'oreille absolue, absolute gehör.
Absolute pitch.
absolute pitch. So it's so important. So like people who have that or the best at school, you know. But then I have a musical teacher who taught me that the best way of listening is if you have a relative pitch, but you also know how to recognize the note. But a very well trained relative pitch is even more musical than an absolute pitch.
Have you had any problems or difficulties with performance anxiety, or just anxious before performance? Or
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, like everybody, because
yes.
if someone says, "Oh, I've never been anxious in a concert," I think he's lying, because of course in some performances, depending who is in the hall, depending the event can be huge, can be, well, so everybody. I've never been so anxious, but of course I had my anxiety. And what is weird is that it really appeared in a passive way. I mean, sometimes I didn't feel anxious. Actively, I didn't feel anxious, but in concert, I started to have some symptoms. And my symptoms were to have like tetania, I don't know how to say that. You know, like you
Tense
like,
hands.
how do you call that? You know, when you have, it seems to be you have electricity in the hands. You know, you don't feel anymore what happens.
Oh, domnaro.
I don't know in English the term, but you see what I mean.
Yeah, they kind of.
When you don't have blood anymore, you know.
Numbness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so when I was doing some competitions and stuff, I had that because also I think I had a lot of expectations of myself, like a lot. So it was high pressure. So for example, in some competition that was too high for me at the time. I was, for example, 18 and I did a big competition in France. And I think I was not ready for that at the time because it was too much and I couldn't play as I wanted at all. And then it was better, then it came back a bit, and now it's super fine because I also understood that the relation with the audience is not a fight. People are not here against you. And I think it's important to understand that we are sharing something that is much more simple than what we thought. But to be honest, this pressure, it was because of the pressure that I put to myself. But I have to say that this pressure helped me a lot also to improve. So yeah, sometimes it was difficult, but it was never like a huge problem. You know, it happened maybe 2 or 3 times that it could really impact my performance, but otherwise it's fine. But you know, I learned something is to find ways to make you more comfortable. For example, when I realized I had this thing of blood, I thought it was hypoglycemia. I thought it was that. So I started, for example, to eat like, I don't know, Snickers or some sugar before the concert. And it helped me to feel better because I knew I couldn't have hypoglycemia. So whatever you can find that helps you psychologically speaking, take it. Just do it. Even if it's not the truth, take it. You know, if you're tired, you want to do a little, take a nap just because you think like, then nothing can happen to me anymore, just take it, you know.
How much time do we have?
You have 10 minutes?
Yeah, 9 minutes.
9 minutes?
I mean, I have a kindergarten-esque question. It's what are some of your inspirations, like guitarist-wise? like some inspirations for your playing?
In the guitar, you mean?
In the guitar, yes, both like old or contemporary.
But mostly are old, actually, all dead even.
Okay.
You know, to me, like for me, the best guitarist ever that existed is Ida Presti for me, because I think even nowadays nobody could reach this level of the virtuosity. Yes, in a way, but she had her proper way of moving and playing, and in terms of the way she made the guitar sound was just. I don't know if you heard some recordings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's phenomenal. It's completely phenomenal. The elasticity of the phrasing, the freedom, the tone, the vibrato, just gives me goosebumps when I listen to her. So for me, she's really the best. And sometimes I really like to listen some of the recordings to say, wow, actually this sound exists on the guitar, and we don't hear it anymore. You know. For example, you know, we were working on the bass line, you know, with the thumb. I mean, she would do that like in a way that is crazy. And then I have other guitarists who really inspired me, like, of course, Julian Brim for the imagination, also for the work he did with the composers, because I think he brought a lot of things to the repertoire. And he's someone who was so important for that he's an example. Someone like Pablo Marquez, also. I think Pablo Marquez is someone that I like because to me, he has kind of the perfect career, because when he does the Renaissance or early music, Baroque music, he really does it immersed in this style and with a really nice, say that, integrity with this. When he plays Spanish music, it's the same. Contemporary, he plays contemporary music as good as if he was playing Spanish music. And this is something important because I see a lot of people, when they touch to contemporary music, they consider they don't have to play it as good as if they were playing Bach, because anyway, no one will hear the difference. And I think this is a big problem, because it doesn't give justice to this music. And Pablo Marquez is one of them who will really play the game 100%. He plays chamber music, he plays solo, and to me, he's really good in chamber music too. He's an incredible musician. So I like all these person for the playing, but also for the way they see the musical world. And I think playing the guitar is not only playing the guitar, is what is the relation with other instruments? What is my vision of being a musician today? Is it working with composer? Is it making chamber music? Is it playing an old guitar to be closer to the aesthetic that existed before? Am I in the guitar with innovation to play a contemporary repertoire? Being a musician is all of that. It's not only having good fingers. Yeah.
I have a more technical question. I think you have a very nice sound on the guitar,
Thank
you. Yeah, it really sticks out. And something that one pays attention to is your hand position, which seems maybe more traditional or different from what contemporary guitarists usually choose to adopt. So I was wondering if this is something if you have changed different hand positions, and why did you choose the current one, and has that affected, is the sound, how does it affect the sound?
Well, first of it, I didn't choose it because I started like that, and it's funny because all my teachers played with this right-hand technique, like La Goya, Presti, French school actually. So my first teacher who didn't play like that was Judy Kelperoy when I was 18 years old. So until then, I always played like this. It never caused me any problem, so for the moment, I hope it will continue. But then the question of the sound is interesting because I'm not sure it's due to the technique properly. I think it's due to your imagination. For me, before playing like this, I imagined something. And to tell you something, before I was really in front of the strings, and now I'm a bit on the side. And I had to go on the side to reach a sound I was really dreaming about. But my position now is a consequence of my imagination and not the opposite. So that is very important because even if you play left angle or right angle, everything is possible from the moment you imagine it, but then you have to work and practice to reach this moment. And that can take time. You know, I remember when I was 12, 13 years old, I was playing a menuet from the Sixth Suite for cello by Bach. And I don't know why, but I wanted to hear some bells. Because Segovia, when he played it, I heard some bells. Wow, that's amazing. And I was looking for the bells during days and days and days and weeks actually. And one day I found the bells in my hand, like sounded like bells. I don't know if it sounded more like bells for you or not, but for me, yes. And this is the most important because I reached my goal at this moment. And every time I play any note, actually, that's the thing. Every note has to have a meaning in the phrase or itself. And I think I'm really caring about every note when I play, all the time, even when I'm practicing. So sometimes when I feel someone playing a note passively, I'm like, why? You know, just what would you like to do with this note, with this moment? You see? So everything's here actually. This is just a tool. For me, the hand is just the machine.
No.
You know.
I understand. My first teacher always told me, look for the sound. So
Yeah.
Seek. I have one last question, maybe more philosophical. When you're interpreting a piece or playing a piece, does the element of narrative or meaning in the piece, what does it play for you? Is it an important element? Is it something you think about, or?
I think it's essential, but I would say that being narrative doesn't mean to imagine something realistic. It means we can have an image very precisely. I don't know, I say something. You can imagine like, oh, this phrase I want to imagine a camel walking in the desert. Okay, this is an image. But you can also imagine just a temperature. Suddenly it's warmer. But myself, you know, you want to make things warmer, things colder. You can imagine this has to be a voice. Just what is it to make a sound that sounds like a voice? What are you touching in the sound to make it happen? Is it the sustain? Is it the color? Is it the attack? Because the attack of a voice is not the same attack on a violin or a harpsichord. So my idea is just to every time imagining something that can be more or less realistic. You know, there is a book that really inspired me about that. It's a French book by Boris Vian called L'écume des jours. And actually, he says in the preambulo of the book, it's a pure fiction. It's completely fantastic. For example, if the character is sad, the house he's living in is smaller. That's weird. And suddenly he's happy, so the corner will be round instead of being square. And everything evolves like that in the book, so it's completely fantastic. And he says, this story is true because I imagined it from the first to the last letter. And I love this phrase because it's exactly what you are doing. If you imagine something, but you feel it deeply, you make it exist, musically speaking.
Beautiful.
Yeah.